we are going to have a little chat with the farmer about the cattle in the yard. We're going to go back to where it all began, going to talk you through it and tell you all the reasons of where we are and where we've come to, and where it all started, but you know, from where they started with cattle right up until we get to right now. We've just got, I haven't shown you yet, but in the background there are some new cattle that have joined the farm. It's the first time we've brought cattle in for about 15 or 16, 17 years, something like that. Farmer will explain all that in a minute. We'll have a little look at those. What we're also going to do as well in the next few weeks is we're going to start with the cattle. Then I've still got some older videos, so I'm just going to show you some of those, because January, February, you know, they're pretty slow months. We've got plenty of jobs to go at, but while we got the time, I'm going to take you through the tractors. We're going to go back through the old tractors where it all started with those. We'll try and get the old man in the action there, because he'll remember all the old tractors. And then we'll go through the current lineup. We'll get Pete to talk about the combine, and yeah, then we'll just we'll catch up with where we are currently. Where is he?
It's not a bad life, is it? No. This is the one. This one is the one that is in the title that I'm suckling.
Is it?
That's who it is.
Oh right.
That's why she's like shit.
Yeah.
She was
I couldn't remember the story with her. Was it, did her mum die or?
no, she was premature.
Ah, yeah, I remember. Yeah, I do
very,
remember.
very small.
Yeah.
Wouldn't suck, and just is generally now a pain in the ass. But what do you do?
No.
So
Right.
yeah. So you know, we kept her alive, like everything, like all calves, mate. You keep them alive.
Yeah.
And it's that first few days that is always, yeah. All right, mate.
Yeah.
All right. Right, where are we starting at? Dad and Uncle Franklin
Yeah.
lost their father quite young,
Right.
so they were in partnership with Granny Haynes.
Yeah.
They bought this farm at Murcott early 70s, which I think they bought in their own name. So Gran realised that, you know, she wasn't going to be in it forever, so they bought this in their own name. So that then left them the farm at Charlton and this. In '89, they parted company.
But did your grand, he had a milking herd? Is that where the cows started? So your grand started it, or?
Well, Uncle Franklin did the milking.
Yeah.
I mean, basically in the early days, Uncle Franklin did the milking.
Yeah.
And Dad looked after the arable side of things.
Right.
You know, he would do the odd Sundays milking, odd Saturdays milking, stuff like this. Uncle Franklin liked his football, so Uncle Franklin played football, Dad would do the milking in the afternoon. Or, you know, that's how it used to work.
Yeah.
In '89, they decided they were going to split the farm up, split it in half. We ended up down here.
Yeah.
Uncle Franklin stayed at Charlton.
Right.
You know, we ended up deciding what are we going to do.
Yeah.
So Dad wanted some sucklers and the arable.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. That's where we went. And with the milkers, Matt, Uncle Franklin was still milking. There was always animals around, always. Yeah. You know, there was bull calves and.
Colin, you know, even to this day, he still still runs cattle, doesn't
he?
He,
you know, he'll buy store. Cole was suckling calves.
Yeah.
Sorry, not suckling calves. Milk feeding calves, bucket feeding calves.
Yeah.
Which he did up until, you know, only a year or two ago, which he went into buying store cattle.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes Cole will run them through to fat.
Yeah.
But I think this last couple of years he sold them as stores. Yeah. Because, you know, it's an expensive hobby getting stuff back.
But they've always kept cattle, haven't they? They haven't.
Oh yeah.
They've never given it up completely, have they?
No. And then we went. I don't remember the exact story. I don't remember every transaction that. But we bought 40 for a start. 40 Hereford crosses.
Yeah.
Went out, bought those, had our calves, worked okay, put a Charolais bull on them, worked fine. Went out, then we were trying to build the herd up, so we went out, I think we went and bought another 25 or 30 or something like this, Herefords, and a fantastic cow. You know, if you want a nice quiet animal, looks after calves, Hereford is, you know, bomb-proof breed. The downfall is they get a lot of milk back then because they derive, you know, Hereford crosses from a dairy herd, So they've always got a lot of milk. So what you had was a few bad bags, a lot of milk, big bags, job to suck. You know,
Yeah.
they didn't last perhaps as long as we thought we perhaps hoped they would. Not all of them. Some were okay. You know, no issues. Rag had some limousines, so we went up to Rag and we bought 12 limousines.
Yeah.
From them. Black ones. Nothing wrong with them. Nothing wrong with them at all. Good cars. Cars jumped up and sucked. If you wanted a problem with a Chevrolet onto a Hereford, the cars were not particularly lively. They would perhaps lay and die. Wouldn't suck.
No.
So they gave you a lot of work.
Yeah.
They gave Dad a lot of work.
Yeah.
Top and bottom on that. So we bought some lemon, and we noticed that was noticeable. They up and sucked. We were still putting Chevrolet balls on probably nothing else at the time. We were looking at the time there was talk of Aberdeen Angus being the breed to be in because there was more money in Aberdeen Angus. There was a premium on the meat, and stuff like this. So we went and looked at some Aberdeen Angus. Guy was selling up. We shook hands on I don't remember, on 20 probably. We thought we'd bought them. There was a guy involved from a local market. When we shook hands, we thought it was a deal. He had different ideas.
Yeah.
We go back for the cows, and it's like, well, you know, where are our cows then? Well, they're not here, but we've got some more here. Well, no, wait, we bought those.
Yeah.
So I exchanged a few pleasantries with him, and
You wouldn't think that would go on, would it?
yeah, well, it was backhanded, mate.
Right.
You know, it worked. I say, the guy's still there. Will I deal with him? No, I won't.
No,
and to this day, I won't.
no.
That's how it works. From that, we were dealing with a lovely man in Scotland at the time. A lot of hay going up there. 10 or 12 Arctic loads of hay going up there a year to him. He was big in Bolton Blues.
Yeah.
Which then have transformed onto British Blues. But he was a major player in that game up there.
Right.
And a knowledgeable man. And I looked at some blues, locally I looked at some blues, and it was a route we were going to go down. I'd pretty much made my mind up. And then talking to Brian, he was telling me the pitfalls of them.
Yeah.
And you were going to get good cars, don't get me wrong. You know, I'm not, it was just something that I then, speaking to 2 or 3 different people, it was something we decided not to do. At that point, because of the Limousin cows and the calves getting up and sucking, we tried a Limousin bull.
Yeah.
And it was noticeable. These things have got some vigour, they've got some life about them, got up, sucked, no issues. But what we were then noticing as well, we were throwing 1 or 2 red calves.
Yeah.
So the breed we actually went to then was Simmental crosses.
Right.
Because they got fractionally better bag than the Hereford.
Yeah.
Dad bought, I don't know how many of those we bought. But we ended up probably with 25 of them in the herd.
Yeah.
And no harm in them. They were good breed now. But a limble on those, again, we were ending up with a few red calves, and from an acorn grows an oak tree, Matty. And that's how we ended up with our red cows.
Yeah.
We were putting a limb, so we then ended up with a limb cross, putting a limb bull on them. Great. But they were getting a bit lively.
Right.
So the thought process then was there was a little bit less milk about them as well, which wasn't any harm. Up until that point, it was no detriment. So from that, then we're thinking to ourselves, later we get a bit of quietness back into them and a bit more milk back into them. And it's where the South Devon idea came from.
Yeah.
It would keep them red.
Yeah.
These, like you can see what they are. They're quiet, they've got some milk. The temperament is lovely.
Yeah.
The temperament is just superb. The downside of that, of course, is they're a pain in the arse. When
You do get the odd too quiet.
They're like a donkey.
Yeah.
And if they stand on the tailboard of the trailer not wanting to go in, they're not going to go in.
No.
I would sooner that than one chasing me around the field. So.
Yeah.
from that map is where we are now, and we still rotate the Limble with the South Devon, just trying to keep the balance right.
Yeah.
And but the calves, I don't spend not a quarter of the time that Dad was spending when we had Charolais on everything getting calves to sell.
Right.
So much easier.
Yeah.
So much easier. We had, you know, last year, mate, was just a nightmare. You know that, I know that. And we did things. There was a lot of things last year that I can't put my finger on whether we did something wrong. I think it was a combination of.
And what was the deal with last year? Just for people who don't know.
Right, let's start. Did we put the wrong bull onto the heifers?
Yeah, because we had that young good bull, didn't we?
We had a young Charolais bull we put on the heifers. The cattle people were immediately behind us saying, yeah, you should have put a Limousin bull.
Yeah.
We only ever put a young bull on heifers. A Charolais. If we put a Charolais, you'd be a youngster.
Yeah.
And we've done it for years, mate.
Yeah.
It's not
with no
something-
issues.
None whatsoever. It's more to do with how you feed your cows and
Yeah.
the heifers. You know, I'm sure the bull will have a bearing. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But we have never ever come across a problem with a Charolais, a young Charolais onto heifers.
No. And the problem last year was backwards calves, was it?
Backwards calves.
And big calves.
Massive, not just big. These were things that I've not seen in my time, mate.
Yeah.
Huge calves, monster calves.
And let's just, we had how many deaths? It was way above normal, wasn't it? Because of this factor. wasn't it?
Yeah. And fully termed calves, you know, and dead inside the cow. You know, we've got something seriously wrong somewhere. And we weren't losing everyone. Don't be thinking that we're losing everyone, because we weren't. But it was enough to piss me.
Yeah.
And that don't take a lot, to be fair. Right. There's a lot of grass at the back end.
Yeah.
The heifers, the cows, everything that came in off those fields in the end of September was too fat.
Yeah.
There was no grass all summer.
No.
It rained in September, and there was just an abundance of good.
Yes. We were haymaking in late September.
Oh, it was fantastic grass. We brought them in early because we got
Then went wet.
get
didn't
everything through the TB test, and it was wet.
it? Yeah.
So it came wet. What are we going to do? We test them outside, or we test them inside? No, let's get them home. We would feed a lot of rough hay, a lot of rough straw,
Yeah.
barley straw,
Barley straw.
up until calving, as a general rule.
Yeah.
We hadn't got it.
No.
So
no.
what we got was what we thought was not such good quality silage.
Yeah.
So we fed them that. Was that a problem? We had their feet trimmed. We
Yes.
thought we were
A
plenty.
month before calving, wasn't it?
Yeah, a bit before that.
Yeah.
6 or 8 weeks. But was it wrong?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because it's a lot of stress on the animal, pushing through the crush, lifting the animal's feet, and you don't know if that was a factor, do you?
There was a number of things, but we don't know what it was.
But
Top
you
and
can't
bottom.
pin one thing down now.
No. So what you do, you go back to what you were doing, which
Yeah.
is what we've done.
Yeah. Well, we've come off
Limble on the heifers.
Yeah.
We make sure we get some lots of good quality
Yeah.
hay.
Yeah.
So they're on Timothy hay.
Yeah. Good roughage, but
good roughage,
not
but
so good
not huge feed value.
No.
Make sure they got plenty of minerals, Matt. You know, we tested everything a fortnight ago,
Yes. Yeah. We've done some blood tests and
everything's right. So we're doing nothing wrong there.
no.
And you just trying to piece together the little things that have changed, and actually some of the things are out of your control.
Yeah.
You talk to other people, and people are saying they got a lot of empty cows this year. So that, you know, that sometimes you have to look at it and actually talk to people, and they will say, yeah, we had that problem, or you know, you'll have people, Matt, that will calve 100 cows, and they will tell you we don't lay a glove on them.
Yeah.
Well, they're either bullshitters or they're bad stockmen, because there's no way in this world that you're going to calve 100 cows and not lay a glove on them. not ever.
No.
Things left naturally. Right?
Yeah.
They're gonna throw that calf out,
Yeah.
come what may,
Yeah.
and it might be a dead calf.
Yeah.
The amount of times that you've seen me, you get to know with whether there's something wrong or there's not something wrong. And the amount of times I just straightened a leg up,
Yeah.
literally put my hand into there and straighten a leg,
Yeah.
and that cow will then have that calf perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last year, immediately we started, we knew we were struggling.
Yeah.
The very second we started calving, it's like, oh, this is going to be a long haul. And by the end of it, all of us, I know, it's just disappointing.
Yeah.
This year I'm pretty optimistic, mate, if I tell the truth.
Yeah.
The cows are in better order this year. They're not so fat.
No.
Not, I can see them now. They're in good order. This one here, she's in good order, mate. That's a bit of the breeding. They're going to look chunky. The South Devon is that nature.
Yeah.
And they're not a lean cow.
No.
But there's we haven't got an issue. That's not our issue, Matt. We've been down this route. We've gone from 5 of them in the herd to 105. So that's
No. Yeah.
that's not an issue. There's one girl left in here somewhere that is black one. She is the only one left.
Yeah.
That she would be one of the offspring what we bought from Rag.
Right.
She is the very last ones of that. And she'll throw a calf as good as any of the rest.
Yeah.
There's no issues there. Where we're going from here, Matty, TB has decimated us. You know that. It's
Yes.
pulled the herd back. We had 120 or 30 cows. And we got back to, I think Lynn said 80, didn't she?
Yeah, 84 was it, I think?
Which is great. There's not a real... But what they've taken is their youngster.
Yes.
And it's irritating. To me, it's just a nonsense test. Because 4 years down the line, or 3.5 years down the line, whatever it is, you come to realise that this is just,
Yeah. We're TB clear now, and what have we changed?
very little.
It
is an absolute bullshit test.
Yes. Yeah.
And they are never ever going to get on top of it. As long as they've got holes at their asses, they won't get on top of it. They had a 30-year plan 30 years ago, and it's 100 times worse. And I do mean it. I'm very serious about it. It's 100 times worse, mate. Now, people are saying to me, you're bringing stuff in, you're going to bring TB in. If you had a test that was 100%, I'd totally agree with them. If you've got one that's got TB, you've got a test of 100%, yeah, great, get rid of it.
Yeah.
And I think every livestock farm would tell you the same. When you've got... The Welshman was telling me last week, Matty, he's just broke down again.
So he's gone clear.
He's been testing for years.
Yeah.
He went clear.
Yeah.
He's now gone down with it again. They've done a blood test. He did tell me how many they've taken. Not one crossed over. The blood test would take 10. The skin test takes 10. Not one of them crossed over.
No.
Look how many they've taken of ours. They've done 3 blood tests here.
Yeah.
Not once out of all of those has anything crossed over. Not once.
No.
So it's just a nonsense test. The vets have almost given up telling me because I'm just saying to them, it's just bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't get excited about it, mate, because I go into a test now expecting the worst. Very rarely it's any different. We've had the one test is clear. Yeah, it's great, you're clear, but you're only going to be clear till the next test comes along.
Yeah.
And you've got to get your head round it.
Yeah.
Top and bottom. And it's hard work. And it disappoints everybody. If we say we've got to go testing, everybody's head goes down.
Yeah.
That's how it is. So, to get our numbers back up this time, Matt, we've just bought some stabilisers.
Yep.
Lad was packing up. And they'll be fine. We bought 18 first. I think that's the first one we bought since 2005.
Right.
The only thing we've bought in since 2005 has been bulls.
Yeah.
We would buy a few calves in if we had, as a general rule, a rule of thumb, we would always need 2 calves a year because that would be our losses.
Yeah.
So we always bought 2 calves.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a major issue in 2005 in BVD.
Yeah.
We went out, bought, I think 30 Herefords.
Yeah.
They were out wintered. You'd think they were perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were dirty, but they were out on some kale and stuff like this. And we bought those. They landed here on the Friday. On the Monday, man, did we have some problems. And it just went on and on and on.
Yeah.
That situation, that took us 2 years to remedy that situation.
Yeah.
And that was just, at the time, nobody spoke about BVD.
No.
Everybody, you knew about it,
Yeah.
but it wasn't a talk about thing.
No.
We had all sorts. We were having dead calves, calves that show pneumonia symptoms. You would inject the calf, and always with pneumonia, he'd be back on his feet. By the morning, if you injected him at night, he'd be back on his feet by the morning.
Yeah.
Or he would be showing signs of improvement.
Yeah.
If these calves didn't show signs of improvement, they were going to die. It was as simple as that. You just, and if they didn't die at that point, they would wait till they were 8 months old and die.
Really?
It was unbelievable. That was one side of it. The cows, it manifested itself in bad feet. So they would have sores on their feet, on their legs, and you could do whatever you liked. You could not clear up.
No.
It was just dreadful. And me and Dad at the time, we were trying all sorts. We were trying foot bathing, cleaning them, pressure washing them off, antibiotics, whatever you wanted to do, that's what you were doing. At that point, Vet was packing up. He was retiring. Dad knew a guy and said to Joe Springs, do you want to come down and see what we do? You know, we need a new vet. Do you want to come and see how we go on? He said, yeah. He came down, he had a look. We happened to be dealing with these cows at the time. Asked us what we were doing. We told him. He said, how are you getting on? We said, we're not. He gave us this, he wrote on a letter. I remember it distinctly. We used to call it magic powder. And I don't actually remember the product. If I looked it up, I would recognise it instantly. But it was basically for respiratory disease in pigs and chickens.
Right.
You mixed it up, it would last 3 days, we would spray it on their feet. Within 2 days, it would clear them out.
Right.
And it was just fantastic. And what he said to us, he said, I think you've inherited BVD.
Right.
So we did some tests, you know, from that point on, he became a vet, we did some tests. We then went down the route of tag and testing the calves. And unknown to us, because we were so fed up. And at that time, we were running quite a few more cows. We were probably running 150, 160 cows. But we had a lot not in calf, bits and pieces going on. These feet were just dreadful, calves dying. And it was a bad time. It
Yeah.
was we got rid of a lot. We had a massive cow. Anything with bad feet, anything with bad bags, it was like, yeah, you're going. We were then, by that time, we didn't know quite what where we were going with it all. The moment we started vaccinating for BVD, tag and testing, because that then tells you whether you've got PIs in the herd.
Yeah.
And it's a foolproof method now. You know, these tags, you can see that tag there is a little test tube inside that.
Yeah.
And so the test tube comes out the back, goes into your ear clippers, so you send that away.
Yeah.
Done deal.
Yeah.
And it tells you instantly what. And I suspect you can test for other things by doing it. But we were tested specifically for BVD.
Yeah.
And we got on top of it. And we've been BVD free for, since 2006 or 7.
Yeah.
Made a huge difference.
Yeah.
Massive difference. We don't use a quarter of the antibiotics. I was just looking back yesterday at what we were doing in those days. We looking back at the antibiotics we were using.
Yeah.
It was huge. It was massive. We don't use them. Not a quarter of them.
No.
Not a 16th of them. the stabilisers, mate, if you put your camera along the back of her, you look at the width of that,
Yeah.
they're a big cane. Now the stabilisers are not quite as big, and they're bred for that purpose, you know, not to be such a big animal. So hopefully it's a bit of new blood into the herd, a bit of new life into the herd. We bought the bull as well, really because I'd had a look at the bull there because I wanted to see what we were up against calving UK, because we bought them on trust, top and bottom of them.
Yeah.
But they're BVD free. We've done all we can do to...
We've got them separated from our heifers at the end there. We'll have a look at those in a minute.
That. You know, we've tried... I'm frightened to death of bringing that in, mate.
Yeah.
TB to me,
so we're
yes, it's an issue.
Yeah.
It is a major issue. Is there anything that you can do to... All you can do is test them off the holding, you can test them on your holding, there's nothing else you can do. And bearing in mind it's a rubbish test, you're in the lap of the gods, mate, with that.
Yeah. How many heifers we got this time? 17, is it? Or 6? 17.
17 and 4 over there. So we'll have 21 to carve heifers.
Yes.
I'm going to have to get something done with those lights, mate, because we are going to
yes.
get
So we're going to be carving those over there, aren't we?
Yeah.
Let's look ahead 5 years. Where do you see yourself for 5 years? More animals, less animals? Building it up, try and build it back up, or
yeah, no, we'll get back to 100, mate.
Yeah,
no, that's where we want to be.
That's where you want to keep it.
Well, it's viable.
Yeah.
If you've got 100, mate, you got 100 calves to sell. You may have to keep 110 cows to get 100 calves.
Yes. Yeah.
But our aim always is about 100 calves.
Right.
When we got to, we were up a lot, probably half as many against that, probably 150 there at one point, and. That then is more work, mate. If you're TB testing everything that's around every 60 days, that's hard work.
Yeah.
And it takes us away from a lot of other work.
Yes.
You know, when we're haymaking that and harvesting, silaging, and we'll be doing all that on the same days.
Yeah.
You know it.
Yeah. That is the biggest pain, isn't it?
Finish haymaking to go combine.
No.
You just got to take 2 or 3 people off of the haymaking to go harvest.
Yeah.
That's how it is. If you then got to go TB testing, that's difficult.
Yes.
When you're at it every 60 days.
So it's all right if you've just got one bunch, but they're all, they're split into 4 bunches, and you got to go.
Yeah. You got animals in 5, 6 places. Mate.
Yeah.
And you got all your stores to go with it. Because if you're locked down with TB, you can't sell your stores, stuff like this.
Yeah.
Or all of those have gone to John Boucher. He's been more than fair with us. He works how we want to work.
Yeah.
And it's worked smashing.
Yeah. So these only arrived, what, 2 or 3 days ago they arrived, didn't they?
3 days.
There's a bull in here as well. Oh, actually, we'll talk about him last of all, because he hasn't got a name and he needs a name.
These are stabilisers, Matt, for no other reason than we want to get our numbers back up.
Yeah.
And it's where we're going to go. Do we want to go and buy some South Devons? But because I want to be calving February, March, that's where we want to be as best we can. The closest that I could find that fitted in with what we were doing, in order parameters, Matty, we want them in calf. We don't really want to be calving later than May.
No.
And I wanted red animals.
Yeah.
When I was looking around and doing a bit of research, I wasn't too hung up on what variety we got.
No.
It wasn't a case of I need Limousins, or I need South Devons, I need this, I need that. The criteria really for me was, we want a decent animal and I want them red.
Yeah.
And this is what we've ended up with now.
And they're,
I was probably looking to buy 15, the guy got 18.
Yeah.
So, you know.
So with these lot, that builds your numbers back up to round about the 100 mark, isn't it?
Yeah,
we're back
I think Lynn was telling me last week we got about 103 or 4 or 5, something in that region.
So we'll end up at the end of calving, we're hoping to end up with at least 100 calves, aren't we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they're a nice breed actually, and the stabilizer breed is made up of 4 different breeds, isn't it? And it's a registered breed, even though, what did they say about it? They're a pedigree breed, but they're made out of 4 different animals. So they're
So if you can have a pedigree mongrel, this is it.
yes, but they're what are they? They're Simmental,
Hereford, Simmental,
Red Angus,
Red Angus,
and
you can say the last one.
Gelber with a V. It's a German. You'll have to look it up. It's
They're lovely and quiet, Matt.
they're quiet animals,
In the,
lots of milk, easy
we-
calvers.
we-
That's what they're predominantly
we
for.
walked into these in his shed. It wasn't a shed the size of this, but they're just immaterial. They just stood around, Matty. They'll come across, they'll sniff you. They were there, and I was just looking at them, thinking there was a reason why the guy was selling them. He's had them 5 years. He's only started the herd 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And he's got 4 heifers in here. Most of the cows are within 2 to 3 years of each other. 4 heifers brought in because he was building it up, and it's his business while he packed up. The bull he's had the bull for 12 months. I didn't go to look at the bull. I went to look at I didn't want to buy 18 heifers
No.
because I didn't need. We've got 17 of our own coming in this time.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be doing 30 or 40, 35, whatever
No.
that heifers to calve.
No.
I just thought to myself, it's a little bit of change of bloodlines,
Yeah.
so I wasn't too worried about that. As we're about to leave, because his calves weren't there, they were on another farm, and I said to him, is the bull about for me to look at? Because I wanted to know what I was up against calving, if I tell the truth.
Yeah.
So, he's laid out in the field. So we go and have a look at the bull, and he was lovely and quiet. I walked up to him, give him a stroke. He didn't nod his head, or he was not in any way aggressive.
No.
And I just thought he looked a good bull. A
Yeah.
little bit short in the leg if you wanted to be picky, perhaps a bit short in the leg, but he's got a bit of length to him. And so we had a deal on the bull as well.
Yeah.
And he'll be fine. I'm looking at him, Matt, and my thought process is I can swap him with the limb,
Yeah.
and the limb will go on our heifers,
Yeah.
and I can actually, he's
Swap
of a
him on
size that I can swap him with the limb on the heifers as a sweeper, but he could be the sweeper bull,
Yeah.
and that'll just fit in with what we're doing and what we're not doing.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, they've got a little bit of stuff clinging onto their fur. And now, yeah, but they came in, they're in a shed, they weren't as clean as our sheds, were they? But everybody's different. How people keep their animals is up to them, isn't it? But
well, the guy was buying a straw in, Matt.
yeah,
So he's not going to throw straw about like we throw straw about.
no,
He just simply couldn't afford to.
no, but it just shows you that people keep cattle differently, doesn't it? They rely a little bit thicker in muck. They'll be perfectly fine, but it makes their coats dirty, doesn't it? It makes them look a bit scruffy, but
Come the spring, when they get the new jackets, Matty, they will be as clean as ours.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
And they've cleaned themselves up just in the few days they've been here. They look a lot better than they did when it's all wet and claggy, and they'll be fine. There's no issues. Looking at them from me, people might say they're a little bit thin. The heifers are, there's one smaller heifer in here. I don't think should be an issue, mate. They're not fat. That's a certain fact they're not fat. You can fatten something up, but you have a hell of a job to take weight off them, Matty.
Yeah.
Once they've got that about them, that's. I know they. I don't think we'll have. I don't think we'll have a massive issue with these.
They look very similar to the ones, to ours, don't they?
Mate, if you poke that one into our bunch, you're not going to pick her out.
No. The only noticeable thing is they don't stand quite as high, isn't it? And it's not a lot.
They're like our
just
smallest cows.
Yeah, literally.
Well, I think that's where the Devon, we've bred the Devon into them and it's a bit bigger cow.
Yeah.
these are bred as a what they would call the most economical calf.
Yeah, and there's one or two in here with some spikes in their nose.
Yeah.
And you were telling me that's to stop them.
Yeah, she's a sucker, yeah.
They'll try and suck like
Anything that's got milk,
right.
basically. They've never got out of it.
And you said that can sometimes be from getting them into calf a little bit early. Because ours would go into calf earlier than they would, wouldn't they? But you give them 2 years.
Yeah. Well, if you're on a spring calving herd, you could, right, you do it on size, but you could, if you want it, you could bull a heifer from, let's say, 14 to 18 months.
Yeah.
It's never going to fit in on a spring calving second herd.
No.
So you've always got to wait. You've either got to do it early or later.
Yeah.
If you do it later, you're probably going to have less hassle calving.
Yeah.
Because everything is a little bit bigger, the cow's a bit bigger, the heifer's a bit bigger. You're not going to have you're going to have issues, Matt, but you're not going to have the issues of trying to calve a small one.
No.
No, that would depend on loads of variables. The bull, whatever you feed them, it all comes into play. And it's too much to be talking about. Because our calves have been away from the mums for 2 years,
Yeah.
you don't tend to run into this problem of they've
No,
forgotten
'cause
how to suck.
I've never seen anything, anything older
Yeah,
trying to suck again.
We have had it.
Yeah.
We have had it.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, yeah. And they're a pain in the arse. I'll
Yeah.
tell you that. They are a pain in the butt.
Yeah. And one of them is actually the oldest out of this bunch in it, and so she never forgot it. But that's what they put the spikes on, and then when they go up under, the spikes prick the other cow, and then the other cow gives them a good boot, and that sorts her out.
We have had them where they have stopped because you know they've had so many kicks on the head that
Yeah.
actually what it does stop them.
Yeah.
If she's the oldest cow, she's obviously not going to stop.
No.
Will she see old age here? That'll remain to be seen.
Yeah.
But if she's not causing a problem and
No.
she throws a good calf, then
No.
and she's got that in her nose,
Yeah.
and she's obviously not got that out
No.
because I have had them where they will rub that and they'll get rid of it.
Right.
They're clever enough to lose that.
Everything in here's got a calf at
Everything
foot.
here is in calf.
Yeah.
Everything
So the
is in
bull's
calf.
all right in here until.
That's why the bull's in here. We left him in to settle him down, and everything's in calf, so there's not going to be an issue with that. They've been PD'd before they come, Matt.
Yeah.
And it was just really a way of settling everything down and making sure everything's okay.
Yeah.
And they settled quick. You look at them.
Yeah, they're quiet as can be, aren't they?
Yeah, they're as good as gold. They will have mixed with ours. We've got them quarantined, Matt, really,
Yeah.
because of BVD. I had that one touch where we bought, I sort of touched on it in the other building. We bought BVD in, and I am bloody paranoid about it.
Yeah.
Um,
So let's go up the other end. Let's have a look at our heifers while we're here. They've got like a chiselled look to them, haven't they? Like on their nose. It's a more sleeker look, isn't it?
you saying like that Clint Eastwood?
Yeah, like a chisel. So we brought them into this shed, and these are actually. Would these be classed as next year's heifers?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got, how many we've got up in the shed?
These will run
These will run free next year, won't they?
empty next year.
Yeah.
They're with a bull 2020, whatever that is.
Yeah. 2023 they'll be put to the bull, won't they? But they're a lovely bunch, aren't they?
We keep going back to TB. It absolutely stuffs us up, mate. The arse is, when they were doing those blood tests, we thought they were going to take out, common sense tells us they're going to take the older animals, but they were taking all of our breeding stock.
Yeah.
Hence the reason we're down to 13 in here.
13 in here.
We
yeah.
started off with 17 or 18.
Yeah.
And that is just how it's gone. And then they're taking 10 or 12 cows, and all of a sudden you're down in numbers, but you can't get back there.
No.
That's
Well,
the
not
issue.
for 3 years, you were saying, isn't it? It's a 3-year cycle.
Well,
to...
always is. Look at these, a 3-year cycle, Mark.
Yeah.
To get them with a calf running again.
Yeah.
What we've done to mitigate it, we bought another limb bull and 2 South Devons, and we're only running the one Charolais at the moment.
Yeah.
because we want to get more red calves coming back, more red heifers.
Yeah.
So, and I don't mind whether it's a Limb or a South Devon,
No.
because the cattle now are predominantly limb crosses.
Yeah.
So there's no great issues as to that. We don't want too many Charolais crosses if you can help it. That one there, I would say, is a Charolais cross. Mate.
Yes, got a little bit lighter tinge to her, hasn't she?
But
got all Lucas's face as well.
We've had no choices bar keep them.
No.
If that makes sense, because now we've bitten the bullet and gone and bought. They're the first animals we've bought, apart from bulls, since 2005. But now we've gone down that road.
Yeah.
There's no reason you can't do it again.
No.
It's not something, BVD, and people are much more aware of BVD now.
Yeah, which is why we've got them separated here, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
we don't want these guys being able to touch these guys. And we're not too worried about it, are we? But if we hadn't separated them and something does happen, we'll be a bit annoyed with ourselves that we did.
We've done, these are supposedly BVD vaccinated.
Yeah.
They've been tested for BVD.
Yeah.
But
To be sure,
yeah, exactly.
we're just taking a bit of control into our own hands.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And we'll tag and test the calves, won't you?
Yeah.
So they'll calve, you'll tag and test.
We tag and test everything, Mark. They're telling me because we're free of BVD and we vaccinate for BVD, what the vet's telling me, we don't need to tag and test.
Yeah.
But the cost is nothing.
No.
It is absolutely minimal. It's like £3 a tag or something
Plus,
like that extra.
if you ever have to or want to sell them, you've got proof that, haven't you? You've got it on paper that they're BVD free and all the rest of it.
They will get into it in time.
Yes.
They will get into it.
Yeah.
That's for certain.
Yeah.
But we can carve these separate, we can keep them separate with no great issues.
Yeah.
It's not a big problem
No.
for us to do that now. And in time, they will just go in the herd. Well,
Come next year when they all come in, they'll all be over there.
We've got one or two white faces, Matt.
Yeah.
And
I like them. I like the little bit of character in them. It
Yeah,
gives them a bit
exactly.
of character, you know.
we'll have a massive choice. He's going to throw some red calves, Matty.
Yeah.
Judging by the animals that I've seen on that guy's farm,
Yeah.
they're going to throw some red calves.
Yeah.
So we'll have 4 bulls away throwing red calves. So,
Yeah.
we can pick and choose whichever of them we want.
Pick the best then, can't you?
Exactly
Instead of
that.
having to pick
Yeah,
everything.
exactly. Instead of having to take what we've got,
Yeah.
we'll be able to pick the ones we want to pick.
Yeah.
But they're good bunch. They're
Yeah.
a nice bunch. He's a nice bunch. He's got a nice short head, Matt, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's not too broad on the shoulders. He's,
Good shape, and nice and long.
they're telling me he's easy carved.
Yeah.
And he threw, the lad had got one more cow there that he caught late. We've got one calf of his there, and he was a hell of a calf. Hell of a calf.
But yeah, what we want you to do then is write down in the comments. We need a name for him. Have a good look at him. We need something suitable, and what we'll do is we'll get the kids. We'll either pick a name out of a hat, or we'll whatever comes up. The best name that comes up, we'll do him a number plate, and he will end up over there with the other bulls. Here he is. Look. I haven't actually had a stroke of him yet. Come on, boy. Have a sniff. Right, we're going to have a little look at our. How do you call these ones? When you say as a group,
they would be a store cattle.
stores. Yeah.
Yeah.
So our job for these.
There's a few heifers left in there.
Yeah.
Mainly because we would have split them off. We would split heifers and steers normally,
Yeah.
but we wanted the shed for them.
Yeah.
So we've kept the ones we just looked at were the heifers of this age that we're keeping,
Yeah.
and then there are 1 or 2 more Charolais heifers in here.
Yeah.
But they're we could sell them, Mark. You could sell those. You could take them to market next week and sell them if you wanted to.
Yeah. Typically, you keep them.
Well, going back years, Matty. Rag would buy our heifers
Yeah.
because they'd always doing well. So Rag would buy them. He would buy as many as he wanted, whatever he thought he needed, and we would sell the steers at market. That's how it worked for years and years. It worked perfectly.
Yeah.
Rag went out of the cattle and sort of concentrated on his sheep. So that was, you know, that's fair. That's what happens. You know, life moves on. And so then when TB came along, we traditionally used to keep our steers through to fat, and we would sell some, we'd think, and we'd work it around whatever the TB issue was at the time. Then Mr. Boucher came along, you know, and because we were tied up with TB, he got the AFU unit for them to go into.
Yeah.
That was, and he was very, very fair.
Yeah.
So even now, Matt, we're TB free for whatever given time that is.
Yeah. Next week.
Probably till the next test.
Yeah.
Well, we still sold them because,
Yeah.
right, you know, the guys treated us very fair. Why would we change?
Yeah. And typical. So, what's the typical time you'd keep them? Some of them would go in the springs, like these big ones here.
Yeah.
Some of them would go in the spring.
He'll come in, he'll pick what he wants for the spring, the bigger animals.
Yeah.
And, you know, we pretty much know, we've been dealing with him a year or two, we know what he wants, what he don't want.
Yeah.
So, we can pull them out, there's a bunch there, and yeah, great, let's have them, and it will leave us with however many,
Yeah.
40, 50, 60, whatever it leaves,
Yeah.
to go down the field, running through to the autumn.
Yeah.
And he picked them up, I don't know how long, a couple of months ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's working, Matt.
Yeah.
You know,
That's a young Norman, that is. Look at his eyes.
yeah, you can see by his face.
Yeah. He will be naughty. There's some good animals in there, aren't there? Some real.
Yeah,
The Cherolet's always bigger, aren't they? Bigger animal. What's this one with the white? He's like a half Hereford.
yeah, but he's basically a bit of throwback from a Limousin to Hereford Symington. He's
Yeah.
still got a few of those traits coming through with the white face.
Yeah.
His mum, I know who his mum is, she's in there with a white face, exactly the same. So that is his mum's markings.
Yeah.
You can find her in there, Matt.
Yeah.
There's no issues with him. He's a good beast, isn't he?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's what he is. But the Cheroleys are always inherently a bit heavier.
Yeah.
You know, as a general rule, they will come out. And it doesn't matter.
But if you had an all Cherolet, you're saying the Cherolet trait is lazy and don't want to start, so that's
yeah.
why you don't have
Oh,
Cherolets, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
predominantly.
no, we started off with that. We started with the Herefords and the Cheroleys, but you were forever getting them up, getting them sucking.
Yeah. Yeah, a baby.
Oh, of course, every calf. Well, you know.
Yeah. You want something that gets up on its own, don't you?
Immediately that you bring a bit of limb into the herd, Matt, you bring a bit of life back into them.
Yeah.
They're a bit more spiky. You don't want them mad. We don't want a mad cow.
No.
Look at them cows are really.
Yeah.
And that's where I was saying we were really lucky with the limb bull we bought initially. We were very, very lucky with it. And we've been lucky with the guys since.
Yeah.
You know, we've had some.
Right, we're going to have a quick look at the bulls, and then that's everything. That's we've got the up at the shed up the road. We've got the 16, is it, or 17?
Yeah.
That will go to the bull this year. They're a cracking bunch up there. There's one up there with horns as well, and there she'll have to have them off.
Yeah.
And then up there as well.
For that.
Yeah, Cole miss it. Oh, Cole.
2 South Devons,
Yeah,
Chevrolet, Limousin,
yeah,
and he's just a youngster.
yeah.
So we because you're
we're
bringing
starting then, he's
right,
younger.
so because you're bringing, you want him to run on the heifers, man.
Yeah,
But you can only keep him for X amount of time before his daughters are coming back in the herd.
yeah,
So you then can run him on some cows,
yeah,
because obviously you then got to go and find something else to run on your heifers.
yeah,
So that traditionally doesn't happen. A Limousin with us won't spend any great number of years here.
no, three years max.
3
isn't it?
years is about where he'll be.
Yeah,
And if he was a really cracking bull, we might keep him just to run on a bunch of South Devon cows, red cows that
Yeah.
he's not related to.
Yeah.
So and you can do that.
Yeah.
And we would do that if he was a good bull. We would keep him.
Yeah.
The first one we had, we kept him for quite a few years because he was so good.
Yeah. We had Norman last, didn't he? And he was just getting a bit,
Yeah,
just a
he
bit of
was
a knob, wasn't he?
Yeah. But that is a Limousin trait now.
Yeah.
That, you know,
See, the others will let you scratch him, but this one, he's just more.
He's better than
He just shakes his head a bit, but he's better than Norman, isn't he? Norman wouldn't let you.
Oh, he wouldn't let you near him.
No. And he's getting better, isn't he? By the day, he's getting
the
better.
Limousin trait was a bit lively.
Yeah.
You know, if you wanted to give yourself some exercise, get some Limousins.
Yeah.
Whether they're all like it, I don't know, man.
No.
I've no clue. But in traditional terms, if you want a bone oil basket, he's your man.
Lucas.
He is your.
And he's a big boy, isn't he? They're
Yeah.
huge. That.
Yeah.
It was a shame last year because we lost our musketeer to, and he was a Charolais, wasn't he? And we lost him to TB, and that was a shame. And that he was going to turn out to.
That is the one thing that annoyed me more than anything, if I'm truthful.
Yeah.
Yeah. This guy here, traditionally, go to this one first, on that.
Sure.
We went to this guy. We bought South Devon bulls off this guy for, I don't know, a lot of years. We haven't bought nothing in for. We had limb bulls at the start, 2005. So we probably started down the South Devon route in probably 2007, 2008, I would imagine, because we were limb. Then we thought everything was getting a little bit lively. It's like not quite so much, but where are we going with this? So you end up going to South Devon. We bought them from this guy for a lot of years. Last year we went to look at some. I didn't think they were quite what we were expecting, if I'm truthful.
Yeah.
This guy was 15 miles up the road.
Yeah.
We went to him. Good people, lot of animal, knew their stuff, and I just thought this was as good a bull as we get. I don't like the way South Devon drops his ears.
No.
And
no,
I don't like the long noses.
No.
Crazy as it sounds.
Yeah. Yeah, very long face. That last one.
Yeah, the shapes of the bodies, fantastic. They're going to put on some muscle. They're going to be a good animal. But their faces, I would much rather see a limb like that.
Yeah.
Or even that little lad we've just bought.
Yeah, good face. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Whether this is, I think that's a trait of the breed.
yeah.
You know, I've seen them like that.
But he's soft as any. This one is like a
yeah.
dog.
God, he's unbelievable.
You could get in there and
You see Holly has been here just cuddling him and doing about
Yeah.
and actually I think, you know, you wouldn't ever trust them. You can't trust them, but
no.
yeah.
But he is
soft. He is soft.
But you try and load him in a trailer, and he's then a pain in the A word. But
Well, he's like a donkey.
Yeah.
You're not gonna. What you're gonna do to him? Because you're not gonna drive him anywhere.
no,
If he thinks he's not going, he's not going.
no.
But he's pretty good. He's
Yeah.
pretty good.
You know you're going to put him in a field, and he ain't going to hurt no one, is he?
Oh.
And when he's in with the cows, you don't even know he's there, do
We
you?
had a Charolais years ago. I actually can't remember how long ago, but it was a long, long time ago. And he would keep cows in the field. So he would stand by the gate, you've got to move the cows' fields, and this Charolais would literally, and he wouldn't walk backwards and forwards, he would run backwards and forwards across the gate and keep them in the field. And he was a pain in the backside because he wouldn't let you out.
No.
You'd have to go and drive him out the way to
Yeah.
get 2 or 3 cows out. Then once 2 or 3 cows had come out, he'd be like, oh yeah, well we might as well go there.
Yeah.
But if you didn't, he would just literally keep running across the gate to keep them in. And he was a pain in the backside.
What was the? You remember telling me about there's some trouble between two bulls, and they got together. And
The
there was a good one.
Charolais?
There was a real good one. You said, and he got done in.
Yeah. That was South Devons.
Yeah.
They had lived together all their time. We used to bring them back. We'll never put two bulls in a field of cows because you're always going to have a bit of dominance and a bit of arsey, and
Yeah. That's
that
fine.
geezer's got a better missus than mine and all that nature.
Yeah.
Anyway, he came back and they'd laid together for a month, good as gold. They'd laid together all their lives. We'd had them for a couple of 3 years. They'd lived together all the time at Malcolm's. They'd lived together, and then for some reason they just started scrapping.
Right.
And you're never going to separate them. All
No.
you can do is stand back and watch.
Right.
And he actually hurt him, and he hurt him to an extent that we had to have him put down.
Mm.
We thought he would recover. He hurt his leg, hurt his shoulder, hurt his arm, hurt his leg.
And he was your best one, wasn't he, out of the two?
Yeah, he was he was probably the better looking of the two.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's such a shame. And so that's the reason we don't keep bulls together anymore.
No.
We-
Because
we-
surely
we
four
always-
bulls in a thing, you'd think they'd just walk round together.
Mate, I go to farms where these guys have got 5 bulls in a field.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen it. Yeah.
You know, there's no issues, and they'll say to you, there is no issue. There are no issues at all until they start scrapping.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've had a few, 1 or 2. We had a Charolais bull, a complete Fruit Loop, absolutely barking. I don't know whether something used to click in his brain at 27 degrees or what it was. I've no clue.
Is that the one that had you in the river?
Yeah, yeah. It was good.
Good fun.
He was fast,
Yeah.
but
But you've got to be.
what happened there? You know, he was as good as gold.
Yeah.
We'd had him in the sheds, we'd been walking, he'd been in the fields, and you just don't know what clicks in the head.
No.
Now.
It's why you should. If you're walking in a field and it says bull in field, you should always take.
We
cow.
pulled him out the cows, and we took him up to Uncle Franklin's because Uncle Franklin had got a spare shed.
Mm.
And it was literally for one night while we got the other bull out because we hadn't got time to do it that day. And he just went berserk. He just wrecked Uncle Franklin's shed. And there was Pat had got a horse stable in there and this, that, and the other. And this
Just
bull
destroyed it.
He just destroyed the lot.
And
And
what
it
did you
just-
do with him in it?
We gave him the benefit of the doubt that day, believe it or not.
Didn't you open the door?
Yeah,
to
well,
the...
at the point of he's trying to push his way through, he's now got the windows and he's got his head through the frame and he's trying to push his way out. And I arrived with a trailer and Col's giving him some to get him back and he's just lost it. So we opened the gate and said, "Oh, you load him up," and in he goes, shut the doors on him, and we took him down and put him in with another Charolais bull to try and quieten him down a bit. And we just let 2 bulls lay together, and he flew out the trailer, went at the other Charolais bull and clanked him in the ribs, and this bull was like twice the size of him, and he literally just got him on his head and took him down the field, and it sorted him right out.
Taught him a lesson.
Yeah, taught him a lesson. He taught him some manners.
Yeah.
We gave him the benefit of the doubt. That year, we gave him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And we kept him round for 12 months, and we had no trouble with him for
No.
the next 12. And he's the one that chased me across the field.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, something in his head clicked again, and yeah.
So as lovely as these animals are, you should never, ever, ever trust them, should you?
Well, no. I think what happened. The 2 bulls had been fighting,
Yeah.
and he got him worked up, and he was a little bit injured, and he was a bit vulnerable, perhaps.
Yeah. I've seen that before, where they've got a bad leg or something.
We just went out in the field, Matty, to load him,
Yeah.
and it was just like you had turned a switch in his head, and he 80-acre field with nowhere to go.
Yeah.
There's an old saying out there: don't get in the field unless you can do it in 10 seconds, because the bull can do it in 12.
Oh.
It was. That was
We're quite lucky at the moment, aren't they? They're all nice and
Well, what you do?
you can
Matt,
stand in there no problem, can't we?
We tend now not to put bulls together.
No.
Not for any reason other than we lost that one that, okay, it's costing a few quid, but you don't want them fighting and scrapping.
No.
and doing all
No, and exactly. If they damage each other, it costs you money in the end, doesn't it? And we got the paddocks for them anyway, don't we?
that. You go to Malcolm Broom, and he will have 8 or 10 bulls in a shed, laid those good as gold. No issues.
Yeah.
This guy, can't remember his name, but at Langham Farms, 4 bulls when I went to look at him, he's laid in there with 3 others.
Yeah.
No issues.
No,
mate.
no.
And, you know, whether it's when they've been with the cows and they get a bit, know what it's for,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Likes that, look. You are a silly soul. Yeah, that's where we're going to leave it. I hope you enjoyed that one. Don't forget, put in the comments, we need a new name for our bull here. We'll pick out the best names and then we'll have the kids choose one. And yeah, we'll give our little stabiliser bull here a name. Want a nice strong name for him. You know, bulls want a good name, so pick a good one. And we'll write them all down, get the kids to pick them, and that's that. But yeah, we're hoping, you know, these are a lovely bunch of cattle. We're hoping for good things out of these. Make sure you like and subscribe, and yeah, we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.